In the modern world of fitness, everything is driven by marketing. We're used to seeing athletes whose lives are entirely focused on training, nutrition, and media promotion. However, there is a figure that falls completely outside this structure. This is Andrey Smaev, a man who became famous not through advertising contracts, but through accidental viral videos recorded against a backdrop of peeling walls and factory lathes. Smaev is an anomaly, a locksmith from a small town working 12-hour shifts. His strength levels and physical condition are at a level considered unattainable for someone who does not pursue sports professionally. He belongs to no federations, has no coach, and follows no conventional recovery protocols. In this chapter, we analyze how this phenomenon emerged. We examine the environment Smaev inhabits and how industrial aesthetics shaped his image. Why does his existence cause so much debate among professionals? We will study the very essence of his factory strength and attempt to understand how a man without access to modern sports technology managed to surpass those who rely on it. This is the beginning of an investigation into what science calls impossible. Andrey Smaev's physical data leaves physiologists bewildered. His forearms, back, and overall muscle volume do not align with his lifestyle. According to the canons of sports medicine, maintaining such mass requires perfect sleep, an absence of heavy physical labor outside the gym, and strict nutrient control. Smaev works at a factory, which implies colossal energy expenditure and constant stress on the nervous system. We will break down his muscle fiber structure. Smaev demonstrates an incredible muscle thickness that is usually the result of decades of specialized training. His training process is chaos from a scientific perspective. He uses massive weights, often neglecting periodization and rest. This raises the question of the genetic limit. Is Smaev the possessor of a rare mutation, or is his body the result of extreme adaptation to the constant pressure of iron and labor? Here, we will delve into an analysis of his strength feats, weighted pull-ups with over 150 kilograms, a bench press exceeding 250 kilograms, and work with arm wrestling equipment. We will compare these figures to world records. Why does an athlete with such data not seek to officialize them? We will attempt to find out the cost of such power for a body working to the exhaustion in conditions that contradict all principles of recovery. This is a study of the physical limit of the human body. Andrey Smaev's training methodology contradicts almost every principle of modern bodybuilding and powerlifting. In this chapter, we transition to a technical analysis of his movements. He utilizes extreme loads in exercises that many experts consider dangerously high risk. Pull-ups with weights exceeding his own body mass and bench presses with massive range of motion are performed with an intensity that should have led to overtraining in the very early stages. We will break down the concept of working strength. This is a type of muscular development formed not through isolation, but through complex multi-vector loads. Smaev often trains daily, ignoring recovery phases, which calls into question the theory of supercompensation in his specific case. We study how his work at the lathe, which requires static tension and endurance, complements his iron training, creating a synergy unavailable to the average commercial gym member. We will also address the question of his nutrition and regimen. The absence of a strict diet or specialized supplements makes his physique even more paradoxical. We analyze how his body adapts to processing basic food into energy for superhuman exertion. Is this proof that modern nutrition science overestimates the role of sports supplements, or is it further evidence of Smaev's unique biology? This is a deep technical look at how steel is forged in conditions where others would break. The emergence of Andrey Smaev in the media landscape has acted as a deconstruction of modern standards. His figure has become a mirror reflecting the flaws of the contemporary physique-building industry. In this chapter, we analyze how one man, with no desire for fame, managed to undermine the authority of experts with decades of experience. Smaev proved that extraordinary results do not require high-tech equipment, perfectly calculated programs, or expensive marketing imagery. We examine the professional community's reaction to the strength feats of this locksmith from Saransk. Top-tier arm wrestlers, powerlifters, and bodybuilders have been forced to admit Smaev is not a fabrication, but a real threat to their established sports hierarchies. We analyze how his existence sparked a new wave of interest in back-to-basics training, garage gyms, outdoor bars, and basement pits. His example restored the concept of primal, raw power to the sport, power that requires no approval from judges or likes from followers. Smaev's influence on the audience is unique. He has become a symbol of hope for hundreds of thousands of manual laborers who believed their life circumstances were incompatible with athletic progress. We study the phenomenon of the folk athlete, who doesn't lecture his audience, but simply demonstrates the capacity of the human body. This is an investigation into how sincerity and the absence of pretense become the most effective influence strategy in a world oversaturated with advertising. To conclude our investigation, we must answer the question, who is Andrey Smaev in the context of strength sports history? He is more than just an athlete with gifted genetics. Smaev is a reminder that bodybuilding and strength sports were once rooted in real labor and hardship, not aesthetic vanity. His path is that of a man who chose to remain true to his environment despite the temptation of easy fame and significant money. We summarize his philosophy. Smaev is a modern example of stoicism in sport. He found a balance between grueling manual labor and superhuman physical exertion without complaining about his circumstances. His legacy is already formed. He proved that the limit of human potential is much further than commercial manuals dictate. This is a story about how true strength is not just the size of one's biceps or a bench press record, but the ability to remain oneself under any circumstances. Andrey Smaev remains in his workshop, at his lathe, continuing to train in silence. His story is far from over, but it has already changed the rules of the game. We end this analysis with the conclusion that anomalies like Smaev are necessary for the world of sports to prevent it from turning entirely into a theatrical performance. True power does not require spotlights. It is forged in the dark, amidst oil, dust, and cold iron. This was the story of the last titan of the fading Iron Age.